Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
FoxNews.com.
Yesterday on Ash Wednesday, our lead story was the crisis at our southern border. And in fact, we had told you about how the Border Patrol Commissioner, Kevin McAleenan, had appeared before Congress and said, look, our system is at the breaking point. There are these families that are surrendering at our southern border in groups of 100 and 200 and 300 at a time. And we are on track to hit perhaps 100,000 migrants trying to get into the country apprehended this month. Last month, it was 76,000. And so yesterday, the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen was there to try to convince skeptical Democrats that there is a problem down there.
She testified for more than 3 hours in front of Congress, and she said no rational person would ever design an immigration system like the one we have today. Listen.
The projections are dire. The agency is now on track to apprehend more migrants crossing illegally in the first 6 months of this fiscal year than the entirety of FY17. And at the current pace, we are on track to encounter close to 1 million illegal aliens at our southern border this year. Our capacity is already severely restrained, but these increases will overwhelm the system entirely. This is not a manufactured crisis. This is truly an emergency. Very unfortunately, because of the increase in violence at ICE, when we have families with children, we have to give every girl a pregnancy test over 10. This is not a safe journey.
That is so sad. Girls 10 years old and up have to have a pregnancy test.
Everyone. Unbelievable.
What is happening to these kids on this journey? What's happening to these women on this journey?
Here's the thing. There's an attraction. You got to turn off the magnet, and you got to make it harder to get across. Word will get out, and the people stop coming. Then we'll expand what we're doing for humanitarian purposes in these Central American countries. At the same time, start addressing our overall immigration system. What I think they did for the first time in a holistic way yesterday. And by the way, it really is upsetting, and should be upsetting for anybody, to see the way she is treated, how disrespectful she is treated when she goes to Capitol Hill. All she did is bring the message on Homeland Security at our southern border where most of the drugs come through. But when the numbers start coming through, nobody challenges them. They seized 84,000 pounds of marijuana, 7,000 pounds of cocaine, 7,500 pounds of methamphetamine, up 25% from 2017 to 2018. We know where the problem is. We know they need more resources. Everybody agrees, including the New York Times, there's a humanitarian disaster brewing there. So why can't, since at the same time, don't put aside this. At the same time, our country needs workers. We saw the Jobs Council yesterday, the president put together, talking about the one thing they need is more people to work. So there's got to be a holistic way to be able to address immigration reform for both sides of the aisle, and they could both take credit like they did on the criminal justice reform package.
The system is broken. The laws are broken. There are too many loopholes. She appeared yesterday in front of Congress and said that smugglers are encouraging families to file false asylum claims because that virtually guarantees you're going to get into the United States. The laws need to be changed. We've heard that from both sides, and yet both sides have refused to do it. And now here we are, and Dan Crenshaw, congressman from Texas, says, look, this time, as in many times in the past, this is a problem that needs to get fixed because the laws are broken.
The Democrats keep talking about the children coming across and how we need to help them, and I agree. The thing is, we have very different ideas of what helping them looks like. What we don't want to do is allow them to be used as tokens to get across our border, and that's what our laws incentivize right now, because they incentivize children to be brought across. That is your ticket. If you come across as an adult, our system still works. We can send you right back. But adults with children, it's incentivizing them, and that's why this is a humanitarian crisis.
It's interesting. So if you don't think it's a crisis about immigration, it could be a crisis if you're a mother, if you're a parent, and you see what's happening to these kids. They're using these kids. These kids are having to get pregnancy tests at age 10. She said, I'm ready to work with Congress. Congress has got to do something about this, whether or not you agree with me or if you disagree with me. Can we please sit down and fix this problem?
Well, also, it's important to point out, too, and I think justifiably, the Inspector General pointed out that Homeland was not on the same page as Justice, and that's why when Jeff Sessions comes out there and says zero tolerance, Homeland Security didn't even know he was doing it, causing a catastrophe and the separation of mothers and families, families and their kids at the border. So the Inspector General pointed that out. I got it. Having said that, don't spend an hour continuing to go over things to try to get more votes in 2 years. The other thing to point out, too, is a lot of Republicans are upset at the president, not because he is doing something unjust, and that's getting money through emergency action for the border. They're saying, Mr. President, if you don't we're worried about the precedent. Therefore, see, maybe instead of using your veto, we could get money from other areas and maybe get you more money than you needed. And stalwarts like Senator Capito of West Virginia are going to do a last-minute effort to maybe get the president to pull back that emergency action. We'll see.
And yesterday, their appearance on Capitol Hill was to sell Congress, because it's up to Congress. If they buy the emergency thing, that's easy. Meanwhile,